some of them are no longer young people. And in many cases, they become successful. They have great jobs. In some cases, they have small businesses. Some cases, they might have large businesses. And we're going to have to do something with them. And
you want them to be able to stay. That's what you're saying?
I do.
Okay.
I want to be able to work something out. And it should have been able to be worked out over the last 3 or 4 years. And it never got worked out.
That was President-elect Donald Trump in an interview with NBC's Kristen Welker a couple of days ago. He said he'd be willing to work with Democrats to allow DACA recipients, what are known as Dreamers, brought to the U.S. as kids, to stay in the U.S. That's a big departure from some of his other statements in that same interview, like saying he wants to deport mixed immigration status families together, and he wants to end birthright citizenship. He can't do. The 14th Amendment doesn't allow that. But let's get back to DACA. The Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program started under the Obama administration 12 years ago. But a 2023 district court ruling put a hold on new DACA applications. So what does the program's future look like when President Trump gets back into the Oval Office? Gordon takes a look at that.
Yeah, after Trump made those comments about Dreamers, we wanted to see what local advocates and Dreamers in our area had to say about it. And their reactions were mixed. But everyone agrees there is a lot of uncertainty with this new administration, and they're preparing for several different outcomes.
My parents, more than anything, brought us here for a better future.
Jesus Garcia came to Minnesota with his family when he was 7 years old. He's now a PhD candidate at the University of Minnesota, studying brain cancer and using supercomputers to understand cancer on a cellular level.
And hopefully find a cure for them, for a lot of these patients.
He is among more than 4,000 DACA recipients in Minnesota, according to numbers from the American Immigration Council, who live with uncertainty, knowing someday the program they rely on to stay in the U.S. could change.
I think we're all in danger. All of us.
Garcia says that uncertainty will only continue once Trump takes office.
And it should have been able to be worked out over the last 3 or 4 years.
What was your reaction to what he said?
It is working. He's shifting a lot of mindsets towards his side, where like, well, Trump is helping us. Biden didn't help us.
However, while some DACA recipients may see hope and a new president who is willing to support them, Garcia worries DACA recipients will be used as a bargaining chip, so Trump can deport others who have a different immigration status.
I'm not a token. I'm not to be exchanged. I'm not a trade, right?
We sort of have to operate in a wait-and-see type mode.
Julia Decker with the Immigrant Law Center of Minnesota is also skeptical. She says immigration law is more complex than many people realize.
I tell people the answers to most immigration questions are usually, it's complicated and it depends.
She says it's not as simple as saying this group stays and that group has to go. She says immigration is a spectrum and every case is unique. But she is hopeful hearing a more open-minded tone from the incoming president.
I think just be prepared for a whole variety of consequences and understand that people will be impacted negatively, positively, in a lot of different ways.
Garcia is also preparing for the future. He's pursuing every option he has to get a green card so he can continue working in the United States to find a cure for brain cancer.
I'm thinking about how I'm going to help myself. What am I going to do differently so I don't have to depend on Trump, so I don't have to depend on any administration, Democrat, Republican. What am I going to do differently? I hope that a lot of DACA individuals, a lot of other immigrants and families take that approach. Show your worth. Show America that if you lose me, that's not really a loss for me, but it's a loss for you.
Now, I asked Julia with the Immigrant Law Center how they are preparing for a new president in the new year. She says they really don't know what to expect, except for a lot of changes. She says during Trump's first term, the changes came almost weekly, where she would be working with a client on their case, and then a week later, their situation would completely change based on what was happening in Washington.
Yeah, and Gordon, we should refresh people's memories. A DACA recipient, like the young man you just highlighted, is a kid that was brought to this country when they were a kid. They didn't have free will to come in illegally or not. They came with their parents who came illegally, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of the difference that a lot of people make with this, is that these were kids. It wasn't really necessarily their decision to come here. And as President-elect Trump mentioned, a lot of these kids have now grown into adults. They have lives here. They don't really know much about their previous country. The individual we interviewed here today was 7 years old when he left, and he told me today that America is his home, Minnesota is his home, and he would like to stay here.
Yeah, and cure brain cancer. That sounds like a pretty good deal. Thanks so much, Gordon. Appreciate it.